The black colour is just charcoal from Indian grocery mixed with water. This is just a plain Tupperware box. Tuckaway, as we say here. I just made that up. And I need something to use my tools to make a picture of a peach and stone. Once when I needed to. And on New Year's I was looking in a bin on the countdown. And these are very different times than the presents. This is the only stone. It's a type of jade. I use these for massaging because it's dense enough to be worn by bone. So as these become antiquated and worn in, they wear down. There's two distinct types of jades. And so I was sitting there talking about transliterations of a system of instrument use, playing music for money, or busking, or education. And in English, we translate that any stone that's free of grain is a free stone. And you could be the mason to lay it in a line, or you're able to carve stone freely. We've taken the joke too far, basically. So, I was relieved from a translation duty by a English-speaking major, long-time Kadaitcha, Lance Councillor, white man, Blackfoot. There's no real words in English for this. We didn't allow it. But they call it Herder. And he said, "Listen, kid, I told you. And how you teach me, just let go." So we come to an element of kinetic sands, where we're just moving in and printing culture. And then there's Xerxes in Greece, who just picked up a bucket of water somewhere. There's always water in these. And he picked up a bucket of soil, which, if it's got bullshit in it, or cow shit, then you got mushrooms. So who's got mushroom wisdom? That's beyond the point. An emu shit. You take down an emu, a blind rabbit emu comes to you and you hunt it. In fact, an emu is just on your property and you follow it long enough and you'll be able to consolidate all the seeds in its life. No, it just keeps a lot of seasons appendix. So we still don't know what to do with emus here. There's problems with money in Australia, and this is evident surrounding the stone trade because it's just never worked it, evidently. So without further ado, it's unfortunate. I'd like to tell you the two sides of the Chinese character with their great leap forward. And that says that if you need to, you can just trade sons to kill and daughters to eat. I'm sorry. Sorry is not even an English word. It doesn't exist. And there's not even an English word for the plant called Prostrata eclipsia. That's the semi-lotus flower. That's for the prostate health. But hey, I've got to find that in Australia. That's apparently Vietnamese, Chinese. We still don't know what we're dealing with. But we learn to forget here, and that's the truth. And people, they see me and they sympathise. They say, what you're doing with that stone in the picture of the peach is also the truth. So, there's one jazz musician, and he held my hand once after consoling me, and he says to me, bro, what you're carving, bro, I hear you, it's progression, it's learnings. He was a musician with tattoos and a guitar on his back, and he says to me at Newtown Station, he held my hands and shocked me back to life. He says, excuse me, he says, it's just a vagina. He's very funny. I can't pay him what I had. I think I had like $10. That's professionalism. My point brings me to, I think, an earlier man, or maybe it's a later man, but it's a now man, and it's a Ghanaian man. I don't know what country he's from. Strong man. And he says, cousin, I wish I had the time in the world to know, Stone, how you connect to the idea of central to love. We just hung out as long as we could until the next train, basically. And he said, let me show you something, as you showed me the different tools of the round and the bowl and the opals and the Australiano and the bins when you need it, and the privilege of an apprenticeship. He says, let me show you this picture. I don't have the picture, but it was about my height, just a little bit shorter, but he was heavier. It was like black as the ace of spades, let's be real. And, I could not take him in a fight. If that's a metric. Any other metric, we respect each other. It's not a battle of brawn, but he elevated me with some sympathy in and around the landscapes of introducing tides and cultures and systems. So, surfacing appearances aside, dietary, geneticisms, privileges, accesses, import, export. So, I don't. Yeah, we're all first generation. And he shows to us a picture of him just fully kit. Not even fully kit, that's not even a word. It's just one strand of beads. It's just, if that's all the beads, just all, they were, whoa, chunky. You get it. They were just big fucking palm seeds, excuse the French. And they might have been a cocos palm. They might have been from here and there. They were his. And before he came here, he got them. He just put them in his suitcase. That's what he introduced. And that's not even up to us to understand what we will do with it. He could not have seen that he'd need to make his prayer beads or his own set of rosary charms. He didn't even think that he'd want to have to teach it, but he could not have taught me so. Because that day he planned for himself full work, full day, one big strand. I can't remember the count. I think it was like 40. His own measurement, his own mum's tree from his country. He came here. My parents chose to come here. My grandparents. He woke up. I'll tell it into this one stone. Told into this one Australia. He woke up when he chose to make it, just tired of being riddled. What do you stand for? So he made his own rosary one day. And of course he had excess, but he knew the length. So the first is know yourself. It's a cursing thing. I have a lot of hair. And he chose them ascendingly or whichever way canonically, however they best fit, I guess. And chose extra, just in case. You always get given leeway. And he put them to the grindstone, essentially, with a sanding block. The belt, the hammer, the boom, 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 boom. It wasn't a hammer. It was the sander. And you got to prepare for that. You got to put a bandana on, and your glasses, and your dust mask. You got to tell people, sorry, I'll be busy today. I can't help you. I'm just turning set, just making dust. So we got to tell people, I'm not making money for you today, I'm just making dust for myself. And he took the husk off them. if I can describe them like a palm date. He took the husk off and he smoothed out the features. He shorthand carved. And then you arrange them back. Around their signatures. And then you rub them back together on the strand. Essentially, I'm just translating how I would do it. And so they're beaded on the fit. I'm just rubbing my face. Beaded on the fit. And they're tied around the guy. And you get pretty sure about them in your final adjustments and spacings. And then when they're on you, you sweat them with your hands, rubbing them, and the anointing oil with yourself, with your body, onto it, with your blessings. It's too personal at that stage. The moral of the story, now, is despite the good picture he would look like with it, despite me taking the man to you yourself, despite everything, he'd want $800 for the beads. Okay, cool. They're just palm seeds from his mum's country. From his mum's tree, if that's what he looked after. I didn't get that close to knowing. The point is that it took 14 hours, which is okay for a Sunday or a Saturday's work when you're not a stonemason or a lawyer or anything else in the world. The point is, he wouldn't do it again for himself. He's got his own set of prayer beads, rosary. He's got his own way to call home with them, or golden toothpick. He's got his own Saturday's work with another stash of hay beads. But the effort it took in that one day of dedication and devotion, of love and sacrifice of material and time, spirit, I guess, and translating to me, is his fingers were very sore and dry and husked. To take the husk, you lose the husk. And don't worry about that. For him to do that, he felt his fingers for weeks, from one day, to feel his tree again. And that's a vulnerability. So I say to him, brother, you know me and I know you. Now, you speak to me like this and... Well, no, I didn't say that, but it's the translation. And I ask him... It wasn't an asking, it wasn't even anything, it was in the conversation that we got to the rounding point that he could have that Peaches sculpture and I could have his beads, but I would carve his sculpture for him and he would make the beads for me, and it would be the same 14-hour day that we'd spend twice for each other. But we can't afford that. I had to beg for money before my super. I had to beg for my own relief. And it's been time since I was carving your sculpture. But to the extent that's as precious as the ground we get to keep. Meteorites and opal, and relief, glass and jade. coral, pearls, topaz. It's redundant. We just care to know that someone cares to know why we did it. And so, it's a very long story. That's resin. It's a very long story. This is a 20-minute video. Just looking at stones. A stone. But we don't want you to learn how we did have to. I only learned that system because I was inspired by marble and stone and peaches. And this is where I have some focus now. Just making a nice set. Getting back to you with the sculpture.